To understand the situation in the Middle East, you've got to step back from the elephant. You know, the three blind men and the elephant. Each one touches a different part and has a completely different idea of what an elephant is. When we step back, we see a very different picture.
Now, the greater Middle East stretches from Morocco to Afghanistan, from Somalia to Pakistan, 28 countries all up. Israel accounts for 0.15% of this land. The population is about 1.5%. It's an impossibly tiny speck.
But how happy are the people of the region? This is the World Happiness Index from late 2023. Israel ranks 5th in the world out of 143 countries, and the Israeli youth are the second happiest people in the world, and that's from data after October 7th. The Palestinians are in 103rd place, which you might think is due to the conflict with Israel, but Iran is only slightly higher in 100th place. Egypt, which is on Gaza's border and has no conflict with Israel, is even further down than the Palestinians at 127. And Yemen, which has been launching missiles at Israel, is at 133, close to the bottom. And Lebanon, just a 2-hour drive from Tel Aviv, is the second most miserable place on earth after Afghanistan.
So Israel is one of the happiest places on earth, and Lebanon one of the most miserable, and geographically they're practically the same place. It's like from LA to San Diego, or from Manhattan to Philadelphia, London to Brighton. Are you starting to see the vast differences? And Israel has one of the world's longest life expectancies. It's only 1.5 years less than Japan, which is the highest. But in Iran, life expectancy is 6 years less than Israel. In Lebanon, it's 8 years less. In Egypt, it's 12 years less. And in Afghanistan and Yemen, it's 20 years less.
Israel's average earnings per person are by far the highest in the region, other than Qatar, which has more oil per capita than any country on earth. But Israel's average earnings are actually similar to Europe's. The problem is that the average earnings of the Middle East are extremely low. Saudi Arabia's are half that of Israel. Iran's are 13 times less, and Lebanon's are 15 times less.
The total investment in Israel's tech firms last year was $15 billion. For the entire greater Middle East combined, it was only $5 billion. The place is an innovation desert, and it's not because of Israel.
In the greater Middle East, out of 28 countries, every single one is some kind of dictatorship, except for Israel. In each of those countries, you don't choose your leaders. Minorities are oppressed. Women have nothing close to equal rights. And if you're gay or lesbian, trust me, you aren't coming out of the closet anytime soon, except in Israel. In an ocean of autocracy, it's a tiny island of democracy.
So if a Martian were to look at these facts, they'd see a bunch of countries that are miserable, unhealthy, poor and oppressed, while tiny Israel, even with all its challenges, is happy, healthy, prosperous and free. And it's not about resources, it's about the mentality.
The mentality that drives the misery and stagnation in the Arab world also drives the violence. And it's no different in Gaza. It's about blame, it's about hatred, corruption and greed, and a tremendous lack of empathy and emotional awareness.
But we are seeing a shift. Countries like the UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, they're evolving beyond this mindset. We're seeing the fruits of that already. The Abraham Accords are a significant step towards a very different Middle East.
But ironically and tragically, the West is going the opposite way. The vast numbers of unchecked migrants from the greater Middle East have brought that mentality with them, and we're seeing the same kinds of problems taking root in the West. Victimhood, blame, violence, and misery. And the mentality is contagious. Many native Europeans are starting to think like that too. And all the anti-Semitism is a symptom of a deeper societal decay.
As we think, so we become. This is a dark path for the West. And you'll have to dig deep for the courage to fight for your world. According to MI5, in the UK alone, there are 40,000 jihadists. That's the size of the entire army of Hamas. You've got your work cut out.
Forget about political correctness. It will silence you. Don't devolve into racism. Maintain your decency. But do what needs to be done for the sake of future generations.
See the bigger picture. Learn from the lessons of Israel's conflicts. Observe how the Saudis and the Emiratis are not supporting Hamas or Hezbollah, but instead they're counting on Israel to destroy them.
Support the Middle East's evolution, the Saudis, the Emiratis, the Israelis, and stand strong for the future of your society, so your children and grandchildren can also be happy, healthy, prosperous, and free.